What we have to look forward to with silver may seem like a negative, but in all reality, it will set us up for quite an opportunity. I'll explain as we explore. Now, what's next for silver? Well, it depends on what your time frame is. I believe in the next few weeks, we're probably going to see the price of silver normalize. And why is that? Because the silver markets are normalizing. That's right. But it will provide for us an opportunity to use these to acquire a bit more silver in the time of that we're talking about here. Now, my friends at Summit Metals, they sell silver. They also buy it from you as well. They're a great company, one of the fastest growing out there. And I would tell you that before you buy any silver from anywhere, you should do your own due diligence and research, because timing the markets can be very difficult. In fact, it's almost impossible, really. I believe in dollar cost averaging, not buying out of fear or what anybody says on the internet, including this channel, which is sponsored by a bullion dealer. You have to make those decisions for yourself. Take and digest all the information you can from anywhere before you buy or before you sell, in my view. And by the way, I did a video on selling silver too. When is the right time to sell silver? I will post a link to that at the end screen of this video. But as of the recording of this video, we just got through another day of a crushing blow to silver's prices. And I'm recording this in the overnight markets here, and so far they seem to be stabilizing a bit, but not by a whole lot. But regardless, we are in a situation now where we are going to start to see more consolidation in the prices. And there's a good reason for that, because the silver market itself is normalizing. After a record wave of free-floating silver-flooded London vaults, prices are set to retreat, with speculation and cooling Indian demand likely driving silver back towards, wait for it, $40 an ounce. Now, if you saw my video, my market report from yesterday, or the day before recording this video, you will know that I mentioned $40 silver. This is new analysis that I just ran into that's been reported by FX Street from TD Securities senior commodity strategist Daniel Gali. And so it's kind of interesting that we're on the same page on this, and I came up with my figure before I read this report. Now, silver markets are normalizing, reflecting the single largest wave of free-floating metal hitting London vaults since the inception of the data that was reporting on this. So we're starting to see metal flooding into the London markets again, and there's no longer a crisis. Although, it'll be interesting to see what those numbers are when they're officially reported. But we have seen extended periods where it's been dangerously low, but not crisis level low, like what we saw after the tariff threats. Many thought that would affect precious metals. Any kind of reaction now to any tariffs affecting precious metals is just hysteria at this point. But nonetheless, I think we may see it again. And it will be irrational, because Trump has said that he's not going to tariff silver or gold. Silver markets no longer necessitate rising and elevated prices in order to incentivize metal to replete London vaults from unconventional sources. Even so, Indian demand is also subsiding following the Reserve Bank of India's intervention. Ultimately, spot price will struggle to recapture the critical $50 an ounce mark, and I agree with that analysis too, because it has been quite a struggle to get to $50 an ounce through what we saw before. But once it hit there, 49, it just shot right up to almost $55 an ounce. Well, $54.50 to be exact was the high for silver, the nominal high. And I do believe we're going to get there again, but it likely probably won't happen until next year, especially after what we're seeing right now, especially with Indian demand also subsiding, because the Diwali festival is now finished, and so there's not going to be as much demand until the next season. Now remember, celebratory events and cultural demand is seasonal in India, but India is a major player in the physical silver market. I think the top in terms of per capita. It's a very densely populated country. It's a highly populated country, and so it doesn't surprise me that we would see great demand for silver and to put stress on the markets, especially in an already stressed market that we're witnessing here. Nonetheless, $40 silver is nothing to balk at. That's pretty good, I would say, especially if they are now thinking that the failed breakout can now catalyze large-scale outflows from speculators. We think silver can now trade back to $40 an ounce in precisely the same state of the world. In other words, there are still a lot of different factors that are going to keep silver elevated to that $40 an ounce. That's essentially the bottom is what they're saying there. That is the support level. That's very good news when you think about it, even though it is kind of a bearish outlook in the short term. But nonetheless, they don't say what it's going to do next year, by the way. They're just saying that we're starting to see normalization in the market. By the way, that normalization is in 2 of the 3 very important markets for silver. I have not mentioned the third yet. The reason why is because it is, I won't say it's immaterial, but it is more of a long game with this third market, which I'm going to get into likely in a different video. So stay tuned for that. I teased that in my previous video, but I'm waiting for some more data to show up to see if there's any kind of a pattern there. But it is something we should certainly pay attention to, no question about it. So they think that silver can now trade back to $40 an ounce with the state of the situation that we find ourselves in. What is that? What that was before the tariff threat, before the silver started flowing into New York? Well, it is geopolitics. The Russia-Ukraine war is still there. Still somewhat of a fragile situation in the Gaza Strip, and also with Islamic Jihad and Hezbollah and the West Bank. There's still some hot spots out there in the Middle East. And we also have Iran, which is not the threat that they once were, but still, there is still some concern there. We have China and Taiwan and the geopolitical pressures that are occurring there. South China Sea, there's other different areas. And so there's still a lot going on in the world, and there's still de-dollarization going on. There's still central banks accumulating gold. And yes, them accumulating gold is going to benefit silver, at least somewhat. The gold to silver ratio is high, but it could be a lot higher. For sure, no question about that. It's trading at 85 right now, 85.1, but there it is. So likely we're going to see something like this happen with silver trading in this range for a period of time. Now, and then I think after that, I think we're going to see it go up again. Now, it could be wrong. We could see it normalize even more. There's a lot of different things that are coming into play. I think even with the lower interest rates that are coming, the 2 that are coming that are pretty much a sure thing, they may not have the impact on precious metal prices that they had before. Although it doesn't mean that they're going to fall much either. I think, if anything, it's going to bolster that support for silver. Now, I think that's a pretty powerful thing. I think, honestly, that's probably one of the best things we can hope for. And by the way, a sort of a slow move back up in a northerly direction when silver prices move up to 41, 42, 45 again. If we do bottom out at 40, hopefully it'll be a little bit more of a healthier move to the upside and not so dramatic like what we saw before, solidifying new support. That's right. And but that's what I'm envisioning and seeing happen with silver play out. But I'd be very curious to see what your thoughts are on that. I think in the interim, I think that does provide some buying opportunities on the way down if we're still going to see consolidation down to that $40 mark. I would be surprised if it fell below $40 an ounce to some extent, although we may see it dips into the 39 and 38 range. But I don't think we're going to see it fall much lower than that. But I think we should expect now prices to be lower for a while. But I don't think it's going to be by much. So therefore, I'm a holder of silver through it all. I believe in holding out through the good times and the bad times and anywhere in between. And yes, I still may even buy some. Yes, indeed, with some of these. So let me know what your thoughts are on silver. And what do you think is happening next with silver? Or do you think I'm completely wrong? Let me know in the comment section down below. Hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.